Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, today we've got a little hover effect for you that you can add to any module on your site really easily. We had a couple of questions. We did some hover effects earlier on and people were asking, well, how do I add this to this and how do I do that? So as you can see, we've got a little hover effect there. When I hover over it, it's going to scale up, have a little top and bottom border there and a little bit of box shadow. And like I say, you can apply this to any module on your site really easily. So let's get started. We've got to do a bit of coding for this today, but as usual, any code I write, I'll put down below the video. So let's enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, I'm going to go down and I'll get rid of the code I've got here. I've got a little code module on this page just under my blur module there. I'm simply going to delete that. Once I delete that, none of our hover effects are going to work there. So let's start from scratch. I'm going to use a code module for this today and I'm going to put it under my little blur module that I've got here. Now I'm going to do it on the code module so you can see what's going on the page. Usually you'd want to put this in your additional CSS panel. For anybody that doesn't know, to get you your additional CSS panel, go down to your dashboard. Once at the dashboard, go down to Appearance and Customize. That'll take us to this page here. Right at the bottom you'll find the additional CSS panel here. If you've got anything in there, you can just scoot it down and put your new code on top. Hit the publish when you're ready. The other option is you can go down to Divi, back to the dashboard, down to Divi, Theme Options. Under the General tab, if we roll all the way to the bottom, we've got a custom CSS panel. And it's actually exactly the same thing as our additional CSS. There's no difference. But like I say, I'm doing mine on page today so you can see what's going on. Okay, well let's decide what we want to have happen here today. I want to add a little border top and bottom to this when we hover over it. And like you saw earlier, a bit of box shadow and have it scale up. So the first thing we really need to do is give it a class name. Now as I'm using a code module, I need to put some style tags in there. If you're using the additional CSS panel, you do not need to put style tags in there. And the style tags are the only thing that I won't put down below purely because of the pointy brackets there will not let me. So let's develop a class. All classes have a dot or a period in front of it. And I'm going to say B for border, B for box shadow, and scale for scale. So we've got BBSCALE. Call yours what you want. I like mine to make sense to me a little bit, and it has to be unique. Let's open and close some curly brackets. Inside, we'll decide what we want to do with it. So we can see what's actually going to happen, I'll apply this class name to our first little box here. So I'm going to copy that without the dot. When you write it in code, you need to put a dot or a period there. When you're applying it to modules, Control C to copy, you don't need that dot. Let's go into our module and always over to the Advanced tab. This is always where you'll find your CSS IDs and classes. Click on that. It's a class. I've already got one in there. You can add multiple classes by putting a gap. If there's already a class in there, that's absolutely fine. That's my old class I use for this, so I can delete that. And we'll just pop the new one in there. Great. We'll save that, go back into the code module, and you'll see things happen in real time when I do this. So back into my code module. Well, the first thing I want to do is give it a border on the top. So that's just border top. And obviously you create it however you want to do. CSS is a wonderful thing. I'm going to make mine 2 pixels, solid, and just for argument's sake, I'll call it blue. And you can see it appear up there. That's great. I also want one on the bottom as well. Let's put a semicolon in there. Always need to put a semicolon. If you don't, it won't read the next line within your curly brackets. I'm actually going to copy that, Control C, drop down one, Control V to paste. I'm going to make this one border bottom. Great. As you can see, that little border's appeared on the bottom there. Take that back a little bit, tidy it up. Now I want box shadow to happen as well, but I only want to see all this when we hover over it. So what I'm going to do is copy this from the dot of the BB scale there all the way to our first closing bracket. Control C to copy. I'm going to drop down, paste it in there. Now to create a hover effect, what I need to do is go to the end of BB scale, right after the E with no gap. I'm going to put a colon and the word hover. No gap between the E of scale and the colon, and no gap between the colon on the hover. That's important. If you put a gap in there, it's not going to work. Okay, like I said, I don't want to see these at all until we hover over. So I'm going to change the blue in the regular state to transparent. See that top one's disappeared there? Simply going to copy this and replace that. And you may ask why I've done this. Well, had I not put that border in there when we hover over, as you can see we're hovering over, it's appearing immediately, it would actually jump a little bit because it's creating a 2 pixels on the top and 2 pixels on the bottom, which would make it move. So it's still there, but you can't see it. That's the reason I'm doing that. Okay, and when we do hover over it, I also want a bit of box shadow, just to lift it off the page a bit. So I'm going to say box dash shadow colon, and let's say, I think I use 0 pixels, 10 pixels, and 20 pixels. If I hover over there now, you can see that shadows come in. You can make your own color with it by just putting whatever color you want it there next door. It's a little bit dark for me. Just click on the little color circle there if you want to change it. Just lighten that up a bit in color up here somewhere. Yeah, that'll work for me. Fantastic. But also when I hover over it, I want it to scale up or grow bigger a little bit. So let's put a semicolon on the end of our color there. I'm going to say transform, colon. I want to scale this up, so I'm going to say scale. Put some round brackets at the end with no gap, and put in the amount that you want it to scale up. I want mine to scale by about 10%, so that would be 1.1. 1.1 times the size. Now when I hover, it's going to scale up like that. Now it's kind of jumping, which I don't like. I mean, it's all working, but it's kind of doing it instantly, which is, I don't know, a bit too dramatic if you like. To make it a little easier on the eyes, I'm going to give it a transition duration, or the time it takes to go from one state to the other. To do that, we need to do this in the regular state, not the hover state. I'm going to drop down one, and don't forget all this code I'll put down below for anybody that wants to copy and paste. I'm going to say transition duration, and it will prompt you. You can put it in there like that if you want to. Put a colon on the end, and the time that you want it to take. I want mine to take maybe 3/4 of a second, so let's put 0.75 seconds or 0.75 s, and that should do it. Put a little semicolon on the end in case we want to add more code. Now let's roll over. Yep, that is a lot more graceful. Now you can do all of this actually within the module. Let's just save our code here without doing any coding. If we go into our module, you can do most of this with the border, and we've got some transforms down here, and we've got transition duration over in the advanced tab. But if you want to apply this to any module really easy, you don't want to go through this every time you want to do it. So this is why we've written it in a code module. To apply it to any other module, all we need to do now is go get our CSS class. Remember, it's BB scale. I'm going to copy that. Remember, without the dot. You don't want the dot when you're assigning it. And let's give it to this one. Over to the advanced. Get rid of that one because it no longer exists, or just tag it on the end if there's one in there that you need. It's okay to put another one in there, and as you see, that works fine. And you can apply it to any module really easy by just simply putting that class name in. Over to advanced, always CSS IDs and classes. There's our old one. I'll get rid of it this time. And to quickly make all these modules in this row have the same class, you can actually go into this module, right click on it, the dark tab for the module, extend call to action styles, and I want everything in this row. Hit the extend and it'll automatically give all of them that class. And we've also got some images here. You can do it, like I say, on pretty much everything. Let's do exactly the same thing. We'll go into the first one. We'll give it that class name, Advanced CSS IDs. Get rid of the old class. We'll save that and extend it to the rest of these. As you can see, the first one's doing it now. Extend image styles, and again, everything in this row. Extend. And there we have it. Fantastic. I'm just going to copy my code here and show you exactly where to put it in your custom CSS. So I'm going to go back into my module settings. I'm going to copy this code without the style tags. Control C. Let's just save this and make sure everything's going to work on the front end. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Let's exit the Visual Builder. There's our first one, working perfectly. We roll on down to our little call to actions. They're working perfectly too. And to our little images down the bottom here, doing the same thing. And you can make up any kind of code you want, and that's the easy way to apply it to any module on your site when you need it. Now, like I said, just to save confusion, I'll show you exactly where to put it. Divi Theme options, I'm using the custom CSS here, or you can put it in your additional CSS panel like I showed you before. I'm going to scoot down anything that's there. It's a good idea to give your code a title. Let's just roll this up a bit. And a title is // In between the two stars, anything in there will not be read as code, so it's a great place for titles and notes. Say hoverbox, whatever you want to call yours. And we'll drop down one more and paste all of that in there. I've got a little style tag on the end there. We don't need style tags in this little box. I must have copied that by mistake. Great. When you've got it in there, hit your save changes. And you're good to go. And then you just need that class name wherever you want to apply this effect. I'm going to delete all this because I've already got it in a code module on that page. So there you go, guys. There's how to add a little CSS hover effect to any module on your Divi theme site. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.